Good evening to everyone out there in television land. You are with us again with the Wiley Resource Center Legal Support Program. And I'm attorney Melissa Williams. I am a volunteer attorney with the Wiley Resource Center. And we have a board member with us, Larry Kimbrough. I'm going to ask him to introduce himself as well.
You just introduced me.
But Larry, where are you from? Who are you?
Well, we're still in the state of Illinois, Chicago. No, my name is Larry Kimbrough again, like she said. I'm the owner of Stay Focused Network, training provider, general contractor, media, whatever you think of. Basically, I'm trying to get it done, work with the kids.
Okay. And what Larry didn't tell you is that he's also a board member for the Wiley Resource Center as well, and we're very happy to have him. We also have with us on tonight Reverend Green from Men and Women Prison Ministries. We have a very special discussion on tonight about the effect that incarceration, mass incarceration of African Americans, as well as the inability to successfully re-enter into the community, is having on our families. So it's not just the ex-offender that is being affected, but it's also the entire family as well. So we're going to be talking about that and how this bill, House Bill 5723, which is the
Illinois Sealing Bill,
will affect and improve the lives of the families in the state of Illinois. So let's go ahead and get to it. You see our live call-in number at the bottom of the screen, whether you're listening on the internet and watching out on CAN TV. We are encouraging you to call in and do so early. Yeah. Last week we had a number of callers that were calling in, but it was the end of the show, so unfortunately we weren't able to take all of those calls on the show. I just want to quickly talk a little bit about expungement and sealing. This time we have overheads to explain expungement and sealing. So we want to make sure that we get a chance to take a quick peek at that. In Illinois, adult expungement requires us to review criminal backgrounds as a whole. So if you have 1 conviction, 2 convictions, 3 convictions, anytime you have a single conviction on your record, that bars you from being able to get your record expunged. Okay? So that means expungement is for non-convictions, which would mean arrests where there was no court appearance required, court cases that were thrown out or dismissed, supervisions for pretty much anything except DUIs, and 710, 1410 probation, which is for the low-level drug offenses. If you had any of those things are considered non-convictions as long as the supervisions and that special probation are successfully completed and you don't have any other convictions on your record. Then you would be able to get your record expunged. There are waiting periods for expungement as well, and we wanted to make sure that we brought that up. Waiting periods for expungement are usually maybe 1 to 2 years to get your record expunged. So let's come back in, and Larry, let's quiz you.
Oh no.
Do you remember what expungement is? What is expungement when we say the word expungement?
See, you're going to put me on blast.
I'm putting you on blast, Larry.
Well, I guess in my interpretation, is that just like the review period or the review process for a record?
Right.
Essentially.
It's the review process for a record, and it is to destroy the record completely. So most people want to have their records destroyed completely. Unfortunately, like we just showed you on the overhead, unless you fit into those categories where you have only 9 convictions on your record, you cannot get it completely destroyed. So one of the ladies that works with us is Miss Val. And Miss Val says we've got to change people's mindsets beyond just thinking of expungement. Right. We've got to get people to think about sealing as well. And then there's a third category, which is the pardon or the executive clemency. Those will come through the Prison Review Board in Illinois and the governor, who is currently Pat Quinn.
So when we have these mass expungement summits around the city, they really are not affecting, or they're not really helping out the people who are, I guess you can say, cornered in a box as far as the ex-offender community. Those really don't. It doesn't really help that ex-offender community out.
Well, what I will say, because I quite often get a chance to volunteer at the expungement summit. In Cook County, we're lucky enough to have a county-wide expungement summit each summer. People are helped, but it's not usually through expungement.
Okay.
Very few people qualify for expungement, which is why we're saying expungement, sealing, and pardon initiative. So sealing, and we're going to talk about that extensively because that's what HB 5723 is related to, the sealing bill, and pardons are the other ways to help people.
Okay.
So it's not like all hope is lost, but it is a situation where you do need to have your record evaluated. And there are services like ourselves, Cabrini Green Legal Aid, the Legal Assistance Foundation, that are providing services for free. Attorneys are volunteering their time to evaluate the record and to help you fill out your paperwork, and to do so for free. Okay. Again, if you have questions, you want to call in, and you want to do it early in the show, right? We're only here until 7:25 today. So let's jump over and let's take a quick peek, and let's talk about adult sealing in Illinois. Now, sealing is different. Sealing is not destroying the record, but it is locking the record away. As some of the high school students, when we ask them to break it down, that's the way that they explain it, and I think that that's a very good explanation, and so we will use that one. Instead of reviewing the record as a whole the way that we do for expungement, sealing allows us more flexibility. Okay. So we can look at the record on a case-by-case basis. So let's say you have 3 cases on your record, right? And 2 of those cases were thrown out, but that last case you got a conditional discharge on it, which is considered a conviction. Okay. So what we can do is, we know up top that the cases that were thrown out, we will apply for sealing on those, and the one with the conditional discharge, we will look to see what type of offense it is, right, to see if it's eligible even to be sealed according to the law in Illinois. So the current eligible sealable offenses are nonviolent misdemeanors, right? So it can't be any assaults. Okay. It can't be any batteries, right? And then currently there are only 3 class 4 felonies in Illinois, which is pretty much low-level prostitution, possession of cannabis or weed, which would be personal possession, right? Possession of a controlled substance, which also would be personal possession. Because if you were intending to sell it, then that would be a higher class, and it would not currently be eligible for sealing. The waiting periods for sealing, right? So a waiting period, remember, is from the time that you complete your sentence, how long it is that you would have to wait to apply to have your record sealed. Okay. So usually that is 4 years in the state of Illinois. The other thing that we want to make sure that we clear up, which we did on last week, if someone reoffends, their record can be unsealed. So for any legislators out there that are concerned about voting for House Bill 5723 because they're thinking, oh, people can just keep reoffending and coming back and getting their record sealed, that is not the case. That is not, okay. Right? If you reoffend, your record can be unsealed. Okay. So we just wanted to make sure that we explain this information in every show. And we want to make sure that we give you our contact information as well for you to be able to come in and to get assistance. Cabrini Green also assists folks Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. in the Daily Center on the 10th floor. And again, these services are free of charge. Now, Larry, did you have any questions or anything that you wanted to bring up?
Well, the questions that I had, you just actually answered them. Because I had a lot of people, because we had the event over the weekend that you were there and working hard out here. It turned out great.
It turned out great.
Okay. But majority of the questions, even by the class that I was in, that was asking was the waiting period. They wasn't sure, and I wasn't absolutely sure about the 4-year or 2-year. But I think you just said that after the conviction is finalized, or you actually
complete your sentence,
you have to wait 4 years before you
would be able to seal your record.
Okay.
Apply for sealing. And what we want to make sure that we don't want to forget is that we're advocating for House Bill 5723. There are currently over 75 organizations around the state of Illinois that are advocating that we pass the sealing bill so that we can expand the offenses that are sealable to include additional nonviolent felony offenses, right? So old retail thefts that people have, 5, 10, 15 years old drug cases that people have, we're saying that those things should become sealable. And we're asking you to get involved, because if you don't get involved, things will not change. And what we will do at this point is we're going to give you the number that you can call if you want to find out how you can get involved with contacting legislators to get the sealing bill passed.
And just to kind of think about it out loud, the whole purpose of the sealing bill is to make sure people can reintegrate into society.
Absolutely. We need to make sure that folks are able to get jobs. Right? When we're talking about crime and violence in our communities, you know, Ms. Val reminds me after this show every week that a lot of people are feeling hopeless. And when people feel hopeless, a lot of times they tend to commit offenses, right? So when folks are feeling like they can't get jobs, they can't support their families, they can't eat, that's one of the reasons why you're running into the situation that you are. They can't find housing, right? Or they can't go back to school. Then you're denying them essentially of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which is supposed to be what this country is built upon.
So it's basically making people reoffend.
Right. You're increasing recidivism, right? You're encouraging, our society is currently encouraging people to reoffend. And at this time, I am so excited because we've been talking about bringing Reverend Green onto this show for the last few weeks. One of the folks that we work with at the NAACP, Ramel Terry, she was very concerned that we express how important this bill is for our families, right? Not just for the ex-offender, but for children, for wives, for husbands, for boyfriends and girlfriends, and cousins, aunts, uncles, mothers, fathers of ex-offenders. So I'm going to be quiet and let Reverend Green introduce herself to you all.
Okay, thank you so much for the invite. My name is Reverend Green. I'm the Director of Correctional Health and Community Affairs at the AIDS Foundation of Chicago. I'm also the founder of a fabulous organization called Men and Women in Prison Ministries. And our slogan for our organization is that when a person is incarcerated, it affects the entire family. It's just not that person that's incarcerated. The entire family is somewhat incarcerated, just like the person that's locked up, because some of the things that happen for them on the outside, the stigma and all of that around even having a loved one incarcerated, and some of the things that families go through, the traveling to the prison, the expense of receiving telephone calls, or just trying to stay connected to your family. These things can run into a great expense for the families of incarcerated people. I myself was married to a man incarcerated for 29 years, and he passed away last year in prison. So I happen to know what families go through because I am a witness to all of that.
Okay.
And we have several support groups. We have decided to help the families of incarcerated people by having support groups for them, a place where they can come and share experiences and also get information around health care, and also what they can do while they're out to help their one inside make that transition back to the community. Because it takes the whole family. Those that are incarcerated, to me, are the missing links to our communities.
Right.
While we know that crime is happening, but we also know that there's people have to come back. Once they serve their time, they should be able to come back to the family, and the family should be able to embrace that. So we work to build those relationships.
Now let's talk a little bit about some of the support groups that you have and when they're hosted. And what we're going to do, we're going to post this information on our Facebook page and on our website as well, so that folks can access it. And if you're looking for Reverend Green, we're going to show you how you can get in contact with us, and we're going to connect you with Reverend Green. Okay. But can you tell us a little bit about some of the support groups that you have, because those are super important?
Yes, one of the main support groups is for the family. We call it the Family Reunification support group, and we have that every first Thursday religiously. We have it every first Thursday, and we've been doing this for over 7 years now. And the meetings are held at 700 East Oakwood at the Center for Inner City Studies. And it starts at 6:30 in the evening and it lasts about 8 o'clock. Now we have people that come out of prison that know about this family support group. They show up there, our reentry population. Also the family members. We have a couple that's been coming to our meetings now for almost 5 years.
Oh, wow.
And their son has been incarcerated almost 37 years. He's a C number. So, and we have people that get out of prison. We have women that are bused to our meetings from Haymarket Center, women that are in, that were released to Haymarket Center for substance abuse, and they, from DOC, and they bring them in a van to our meetings every first Thursday. So anyone is welcome. It's free. We have education information for you there, and we also have motivation information. We have a speaker, always one speaker, that talk about their life since they've been out. It gives hope to those that are out now that things can change for them. There's another support group that we have is for women that have loved ones or partners incarcerated.
Okay.
That's a unique population. I was part of that. So that's a unique, that have loved ones or significant others incarcerated. And that's a program that we've been running now for 3 years. And it's just amazing what those women, how powerful those women are. And the mere fact that they're standing and believing God and for the healing of their relationship with their loved one in prison and wanting to build that family back, put that family back together. So we do a lot of work around that.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we also have the resource book, which is over 300 agencies, is a statewide directory with over 300 agencies statewide that do services for the reentry population. Everything from housing, how to find housing, medical care, even jobs, trying to find jobs. And in here it's just like a directory. You have the numbers, and it's broke up into areas, whether you live in Wiley or you live in Springfield. All of that is in these books. But I tell people all the time, it's a lot of agencies here, but you have to search this book just like you would the Yellow Pages.
Okay.
Well, I tell people all the time, well, if you go through here and find a number and no one is there, use it like you would if you're looking for a pizza.
Okay.
I say it all the time.
Okay.
You're going to call that next pizza place. So utilize this, because there was a lot of footwork that went into this in order to put this booklet together. So it's very helpful for the family members, and it's very helpful for those that's coming out of prison.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. You know, I just want to say this. If you have questions, Reverend Green is sitting right here. So if you want to know some information from her about the services that are provided by Men and Women Prison Ministries, you need to call in now and ask your question. Don't be ashamed. Right? Because what it is that you've been through a test. Right? And so now you've got to turn it around into a testimony. Right. So this is not the time to be ashamed. This is the time to speak up. I actually met Reverend Green at an event called the Summit of Hope. Yes. And the Department of Corrections, and it was probably like 300 organizations in that room on the particular day that we met. And it was a resource for folks who are trying to re-enter into the community. And from the first moment that I met Reverend Green, we've been on a panel together out on the far south side. And, you know, she's serious about the work that she does. And like she's telling you, she's experienced things firsthand. She's not telling you from behind the veil. She's telling you from what she knows. The other thing is that this resource manual, we've got people that can watch the show on the World Wide Web. And also our board member, Mr. Kimbrough, he has purchased our episodes, so they're going up on Facebook and people can view them even after tonight as well. Absolutely. So, you know, we're going to have people, hopefully from all around the state, that are going to hear about this resource guide. And I'm telling you, this is a quality booklet. This isn't something that someone just kind of threw together with no thought. This is a true manual and a resource guide. And so what we've got to do is utilize the resources that we have in our communities, as well as the power that we have in voting and electing officials who actually are going to represent our interests, right? The interests that we're talking about are ex-offender issues right now. But there are educational issues and there are healthcare issues and just so many things going on. And we need to be calling and keeping our elected officials accountable, right? Our tax dollars are paying their salaries. So, Reverend Green, did you want to jump in?
When I met you for the first time at the Summit of Hope, I saw in you something that I've been looking for in young people for quite a while. Someone that can take this torch, you know, because a lot of those people like myself that's been out here, I've been out here 30 years doing this, and I'm always looking for young, energetic people that's really ready to, that's passionate, and I saw that in you. That's why I kind of wanted to be around whatever you were doing to make sure that you understand I'm here to support you, and I'm just grateful to be asked to be here with you.
And we're thankful for you to be here. We have a caller.
All right.
We're excited. Caller, welcome. What was your comment, caller, or your question?
I have a problem. My problem is this: when the state is cutting all different types of programs,
Yes, absolutely.
there's a program the state is pretty much refused to be paying for. They rather keep innocent people behind bars as they cost $100,000, where there had been innocent people that couldn't afford DNA, and now they're not going to fund the program. They rather pay the money to keep people behind bars,
Right.
but yet there's other money going towards things that doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
And you know what? Go ahead, caller.
That is my point with her. My point is, it seems like it's wrong because you're a poor person. You're going to have to wait for justice, and the state don't want to fund this program.
We understand the budgetary issues.
Yes, we do.
You know, and what I will say is this, for caller and everybody that's out here listening, you know, if we were just waiting for the funding from the state, I don't think either of our organizations would exist. If we were waiting for funding, you know, times are extremely hard right now.
That's true.
To get funding on things. So I know our organization, what we do free of charge and out of our pocket. So I feel what you're saying.
Can I address that briefly? Because the funding for the family reunification program, that funding was cut. The funding for the directory, this funding was cut. But, you know, I look at it like this. We're going to have to do what we have to do in this hour now to save us. I tell the staff that was working, we had 8 people working for Man and Women Prison Ministry. Now we're down to 2 strong volunteers. Okay. And the doors are not closed. So I'm grateful. But my thing is this, is that I think sometimes the money comes to deter us away from the real mission.
Absolutely.
The mission has got to be helping our people. You got sugar and I got Kool-Aid, we should be drinking. You know what I'm saying? We have to kind of get back. I know it sounds kind of hard because I know we need money. I'm not talking about not having money, but I think we need to put the mission, which is the people, in front of everything that we're doing. And if we continue to wait on money, then we're not going to get anything done. I think we should work until the money come. I believe the money is going to come. We are creative people. We are the original people. We should be able to take nothing and make something out of it.
Okay.
And that's my thought. Now, I don't know exactly how the Lord is going to do it, but I have faith that the money is going to come, and I'm going to keep working until it get here.
All right. All right. And, you know, the other thing that we've noticed is about collaboration.
Yes, working together.
You have to work together in order to get what it is that you need. What I'm going to do, I'm going to throw, it's unbelievable that we've come to the end of the show already, but I want to throw this information up here for you, and I want to say this. You know, we've got to get into the habit of holding elected officials accountable. How many of you are making those phone calls to those state representatives to say, hey, we need to pass HB 5723, and hey, we need to do something about the budget. We have some ideas about the budget. We can't just sit back and have all of these ideas in our mind. We've got to contact our legislators about them. So if you want to know how to get involved, if you want to reach the Wiley Resource Center in order to get some legal support, if you want to get in contact with Reverend Green, we will put you in contact with Reverend Green as well.
Absolutely.
Please call the number that is on your screen. Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.